Hello and welcome to Nobody Meets Somebody, the podcast where two comedians
who are currently nobody
meet somebody.
who is famous. My name is Mary Picarazzi.
And I'm Tanveer Arora.
In today's episode, we got to talk with J.R. deGuzman. He is a West Coast comic who blends comedy and music into a fantastic show. He's entertained people all over the world, from the Edmonton Comedy Festival to Stand Up Tokyo. You can catch him on the Netflix show The Comedy Lineup and on the Coming to the Stage Season 2 on Hulu.
I watched all of his videos the past couple of weeks, and I am such a fan now. Like, I want more. I want him to post more stuff, so I'm super excited about this interview.
This is good.
Yeah.
Then let's get started. Let's talk to JR.
Yeah.
Hi, JR. How you doing today?
Hey, I'm good. What's up?
Nice. We're so excited to have you here on the show. This will be coming out early 2021, so you'll be one of our first new shows. It's exciting.
Ooh, I like that. That's cool.
Yeah. Hopefully the world won't be so shut down.
Yeah. Hopefully the world will still be here. I think it will be.
Let's not talk too soon.
I feel 98% positive.
Okay. And you're in California. If you're that positive out there, I'll give you that.
Yeah. And you guys are in Texas, you're saying?
Yeah, we're in Texas.
How is it out there?
It's pretty cool. Everything's open. COVID didn't hit Texas, it feels like.
Okay. It wasn't on the tour list. It was like, nah, we're good. We're good.
Nah. Well, if you're looking at the top 3 states you could still tour during COVID, it was Texas, Georgia, and I think, what was the other one? Or Florida. Like always, we're going to ask some super awesome questions. I have my magic sparkly red hat because we're high budget. Tanveer, what you got?
My pirate cup.
Oh, yes.
Still hoping on that sponsor.
Get that pirate sponsorship.
We'll get that.
All right, so I'm going to start with the first question. Ooh, how did you meet Kevin Hart?
Oh, well, that's actually, so I got an email one day from a random email I didn't recognize, and it was like one of those at something.net, where automatically I was like, this is
spam.
Yeah, this is spam, some random third world country guy behind the computer, I'm gonna get this guy. and it's probably one of my uncles when I look back at it. But I got this email and it said hey, do you want to be on a TV show? And that's even more this is so not real.
Sketch, yeah.
Yeah, 100% just said, do you want to be on a TV show? No other info. Cool, thanks. And obviously, even though it looks like a big scam, I wanted to be on TV at the time. I'm like, this is fake. Yes, please. And then, so I said yes.
And
yeah. So and I had no representation or anything. I was just a guy doing stand up in Sacramento, and so it was pretty random. And then I responded. I was like, yeah, what's the info? And then they were saying that they're taping a show for Comedy Central in Sacramento. It was literally in 2 weeks or something, or I think maybe it was later that week. It was so fast. And they said, can you submit another clip of your material that you would do? I was like, okay. So I submitted an 8-minute clip, and then I got in, and then they told me what it was. They're yeah, it's Kevin Hart, Heart of the City. You would do a 7-minute set on Monday. I think it was at this point it was Friday. You do it on Monday. Yeah, it was pretty insane. And then that was basically it. Then I met Kevin Hart. We did the shoot that day. We literally talked for 10 minutes.
Okay.
So what it was is he would interview all 3 of the comics together in this barbershop in Sacramento called Touch of Class. Mm-hmm. It's a barbershop / kitchen / bar / events venue. And
nice.
That's where they filmed everything. And yeah, he was a cool guy, man. He was really nice. He was very had a very mentor vibe for new comics. It wasn't oh, I'm not going to give you the time of day. So you could tell he really wanted to do the show for us, to give us a platform, which was cool.
That's good and bad that it was on Monday, right? Because then it's you want more time to prepare, but then the nerves. I wonder if that would have been later, would that have been worse?
I mean, yeah, in hindsight, it's great. At the time, I don't even, I wouldn't have known. It was my first big actual TV thing ever. And so maybe I didn't even have time to like get nervous and realize like
Yeah.
I'm not prepared for this. Yeah.
Like
Whoever, like my imposter syndrome didn't have time to kick in.
That's awesome. That's
I think
good.
you're still thinking about this is still a scam. They got a Kevin Hart lookalike. That's great.
How great would that be?
Yeah, exactly.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Before I get into the next question, I actually made a note right now to check my spam folder. Like, I've got none of those, man.
That's where the real industry stuff comes in through your spam folder.
The .net accounts. Yeah. Oy.
And it sounds so fake. Hey, this is Mr. Comedy Central, and like just really unprofessional emails. Those are the real ones.
Okay, I'll make a
That's the
note.
ones we gotta look out for. Check.
Oh, I love this question, and I ask my buddies all the time: would you quit comedy? Would you quit performing for $20 million?
Oh man, like never do a set ever again.
Never do a set ever again.
Oof.
$20 million.
Man, you know what? Like the inspirational, like it was gonna go on YouTube, this channel called Above Average. They have these motivational speech.
Yeah.
It's like it's not about the money, man. But I just moved in this new apartment and I got to pay my rent, so I'm like, yeah, that sounds fine. I can do that.
I could do something with 20 million.
Because also, like, how would they know? You know, I'll find a way to tell jokes on the side. You know?
What if you? Because they didn't say you couldn't be a writer for another comic.
That's true. Then see, you guys are all about the legal stipulations. Like, you're gonna have the $20 million thing. They'll give it to you, but then they'll have you read into the camera. You understand that you can't write for other comedy shows, right?
Damn it.
Oh, okay.
I'd be interested to hear your guys' answers to that. I'm so curious.
I'm torn.
Yeah.
I take it. I'll take it. There you go. I'll take it, man.
I wish I could say I wouldn't, but I hate working like really badly. So, and I'm 38 and I've been working a lot longer than Tanvir. So I don't want to do this shit anymore. And I know retirement's going to suck. So I'd rather have the 20 million to blow. So
yeah, I mean, I think that's like the instinct, the right away is just yes. It's like, oh yeah. Fuck it. And then you start, then later you figure out the other stuff. But yeah, if I have $10 million already,
yeah, it's gonna hurt a lot not to perform, not to write.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'll have to find something to keep my mind off comedy. Like,
I feel like I can find something to do. Yeah.
Oh, with $20 million, you'll find something.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'll think about it when I'm on my yacht, and then I'll be like,
just pay people to laugh while you're sitting on your yacht, and they're like, "Can you just laugh every like 30 seconds?" Thanks.
I feel like I'm really hitting my groove here.
Yeah, and that's actually more than laughs than I would usually get in my set. So this is great.
Okay. Yeah, you and me both. You and me both. Ooh, what's the worst advice you have ever received?
Any life or a stand-up?
Either or. People love to give advice whether you ask for it or not. So
that is true. Oh man, it's so hard because anytime someone's telling me bad advice, I go into like I'm just like listening mode, but I'm not listening. You know. Man, what was something Well, okay, this is something I remember in the very beginning of stand-up that like maybe more of my own pain, right? So I remembered it. Like it was like this hurt my feelings. Like somebody told me as like one of my first open mics, like, "Hey man, you're a good comic, like you're really funny, but you got to lose the guitar and then you'll make it." And it was interesting because I think there's just a lot of hate on like musical comedy, which I understand because there's a lot of bad like musical comedy out there. So I think that was something that stuck with me because I think if I stopped that, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I don't know, maybe I still could have, but it was just the music thing I did is a pretty unique thing for me, for what I do. So that was some advice that I think I'm glad I didn't take.
That's cool. Actually, I had a follow-up, right? Yeah, I had a question about the guitar. Has it ever been a curse? Like, have you ever felt, man, I shouldn't have got the guitar on stage or something?
Yeah, I mean, the realistic, like, practical thing of that, I mean, maybe this is like my optimism, but I think it's been good because the parts that were harder for me, the routes that I couldn't go, it just forced me to have a very specific path. Because like, it was hard to host at some clubs in the early on stages.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And then once I knew that, I was like, well, then I got to write 30 minutes so I can come in as a feature at some spots.
Right.
And that, like, looking back, that's pretty amazing. But at the time, I was like, man, like, that sucks. Yeah.
Well, it's sort of like you saw you had to do it, and you just did it. Like there was no hindrance in your head, like, oh, I shouldn't be able to do this. So that speaks volumes to your talent there.
Oh,
Right.
thanks. That's nice of you guys.
It's like
We had
when
that
you
thing
say,
earlier too. We did stipulations. We had to accept everything I say. You guys have to compliment it, too. Like, you understand? If I'm doing this podcast, you have to compliment after everything I say.
hey, at the end of this, you can receive $20 million.
Yeah, that's why they ask. That's why you guys asked in the beginning. It's like,
Yes.
would you? We're actually just getting you on here to quit comedy. So trying to
We're
find
just
your
trying
part.
we're trying to thin the crowd out for our potential break.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
guys didn't know I would have done it for $10,000. So
Hey, you got a good budget going, all right? You look at a cups, yeah, they're pretty cool.
that Pyrex sponsorship is good, baby. Yeah.
I didn't plan this, but it just happened. The best advice you've ever received, maybe for stand-up.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll do for stand up then.
Yeah.
The best advice. I don't remember. This is the first thing that came to my mind, and I was thinking about it today. Was like, I mean, one, you got to be true to you no matter what, because it's like you pull stuff from different comics as far when you're starting out. Like, oh, I like this guy. How do I
Right,
write
yeah.
jokes like this or that style? But it's like being 100% you, and then let's say that's like craft wise,
Mhm.
like finding your own voice is such a huge thing because that automatically makes you stand out. There's no one that is you.
Right.
And every meeting that I've ever gone to, like that's something that they've looked for is like your voice and your perspective. Like,
Right.
and then the second thing was like kind of like then when you're thinking the business wise,
Mhm.
and was like filling the void. So not in my emotional black soul, but like that's why I do comedy. But like when you look in the market of like, let's say you're pitching a show or you're like pitching your own special, or it's like what is not there,
Got
and
it.
then filling that neighborhood in with that, because like, all three of us have something that no one has done yet, like looking at us as comics, and I think, but because of that, there's a big demand, and if you're the first or you're the person who does that best, it's like there's
Right.
your career. So I'd say be true to you, and then fill that void of what's not out there yet.
That's
I
great.
want to take that question though, of like for your family. So you come from a family of dentists, and then
Nice.
people who
Wow.
marry into the family are dentists. So what was the advice when you're like, Mom, Dad, yo, I'm going to be a comedian? Are they like, have you tried dentistry? Like,
No, they probably just broke all his teeth, and then like, yeah, come in and
Yeah,
get the work done.
yeah. You'll be here. You'll be
you'll,
back.
you'll need us.
Well, what did I do? Man, I'm not the best to talk about it because I kind of lied to them
Ooh.
when I graduated, right? I knew, oh shit, it's game time. Like they're gonna need me to be an adult or like whatever. And I said, hey man, I would love to go into dentistry or whatever. So like but I just need like a little bit of time to understand the practice and all that stuff. I was basically trying to buy my time as long as possible to do stand up
Mhm.
until they were gonna like say, okay, now you have to go to like dental school or something, because both my brothers moved to the Philippines for dental school, and I was like the last one left. I was still at home living with my parents, and which gives them a lot of the power. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
so I kind of like bought my time as long as possible, and I was still doing stand up, and it's like I think they're supportive as long as they know that you can fend for yourself,
Right.
like, and they just weren't sure that I could do that with stand up. And
Right.
then
Yeah.
I think that's a very Asian household thing, right?
I was gonna
Yeah.
say it, and I was like, let me just give this for everybody. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure you feel it too, but it's 100% very like Asian household thing.
Right.
Yeah, immigrant household.
So like I'm Mexican American, right? So my family with Mexican households, you either have the super supportive family or the how could you family, So
Mhm.
it's the
Yeah.
you don't convert, you're dead to me type of person. Like, so there's this whole drastic novella type of reaction to that. So
Well, it's like, I think that comes from, sorry to interrupt you there. I was like, it kind of comes from like, I think of it as when they talk to their like, sisters or like their gossip tribe, they want to be able to have some good shit from you.
right?
Like,
Yes.
hey, like,
Yeah.
like, well, what's your kid up to? And then if their friend says like, oh, he's a doctor now, and they don't have shit to bring up like to back that up, They're like, "Give me something good, Mary." You know.
But that's funny. You say your parents are probably honest. So, like on my family, but if I tell my grandmother I got a job at Chick-fil-A, by the time it hits Central Mexico, I am running Chick-fil-A.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I own the corporation. Like the embellishments are ridiculous.
Yeah, she's just working on new ingredients and stuff right now. She's real smart, real genius.
Like she came in for a job and they were like, "You need to be our boss." Like what? Like that doesn't happen, Grandma. But those are the type of stories. Like everything goes to that embellishment because that's the same thing. They want to always have I want to have the better grandchild.
Yeah, it's really like you're the betting horse that they're betting on.
Yes. I should not have betted on me to begin with, but yeah. Ooh, okay, this is a fun one. What 3 things would you bring to a deserted island?
Nice.
Oh, yes. I've gotten this question a lot on like dates, you know, or
Are you trying to find you someone?
Wait, are we dating? Hold on, I didn't know this.
Yeah, this is a date. This is a 3-way date right now. It's going pretty well. We've talked a lot about like how much money is involved. So it's very close to prostitution. But we're bordering on some legal issues here.
Borderline.
I'm still on a visa, guys. I'm still on a visa. So.
Oh yeah. The 3 things, man, it's like, okay, the 3 topics that I need to cover for myself is definitely music. Like it's weird that that's the first thing as an artist. I'm like, I don't care about eating. I just want to be creatively fulfilled.
Well, we presume the whole, you have a tent, you have food, your family's there, blah, 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 all the heartfelt nonsense.
Okay.
But what's the fun things you want?
Yeah, a guitar. Can I bring a person, just like a lady friend, you know?
A lady?
Well, now we're not
just
alone.
picking one out at the moment, or like, do you have somebody in
Let me go through my list.
You're like, my Rolodex. Wait, you're too young for Rolodex. My iPhone, yeah.
Yeah. And then that would be so rude. It's like you bring them there and then like, oh, cool. It's like, oh, by the way, we're stuck here. Like,
yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
The best, worst long date ever.
Like if I could bring people, it would be like a chef, like a partner.
Oh, that's
like
interesting.
A partner. I mean, like we're gonna do business and figure out like let's go and invest in some real estate here. Yeah, like a girl, a chef, and
a guitar.
And a guitar.
There you go.
And a guitar.
Girl.
Yeah.
Why didn't you just have the girl be the chef and then you would have had a third option?
Oh man, see?
Come on, kid. You're not even trying.
No, I'm not even.
Come on.
I'm not even trying to get stranded on an island. What am I doing here?
So far on the podcast, we talked about prostitution and kidnapping. That's great. Amazing.
Yeah.
This is great.
All right.
So
this one's my favorite. Have you ever been jealous of someone and why? Either in stand-up or just in life?
Wow, that's a good one. Have you read The Artist's Way? Have you guys heard of that book?
Nope.
It's well, it's so funny to ask somebody a thing and then they haven't read it and then just go into it anyways. So you remember that part?
Actually,
there's a part in that book. It's like about creativity, about when you feel jealous. It's usually like a sign for you of like something that you need to do in your own life. So I like that question. Like career wise, of course, you know, as an artist, you like. I like somebody pitches a show, it sells, and is a huge success. I had that happen while I was pitching a show, and it didn't go. And then all my friends who aren't comics are texting me about this my friend's show.
Yes.
And again, I am happy for him. I'm really happy. Like that's a serious thing. I'm not saying that as like a Hollywood thing. Like I'm super happy. And I didn't watch it for a while because I was just like my own like heartbreak from my stuff would come up too much. But everyone was texting me like, dude, you got to watch the show. Have you heard of it? It's so good. And I finally did watch it during the pandemic, and it's amazing. It's so good. It's so good. And so this is where what came around from that. I realized like the positive was if I get rid of my own jealousy, my own ego, it's like he made such a good show. I got to see what's possible. Like I know this guy, and I've seen he's just a normal person. It's not like I met him and I was like, this guy is a creative genius and he just grinds. It's just, you know, he just did the work and did an honest show and it was amazing. So that helped me see like, okay, it's possible. And then in high school, I was such a dumb teenager. I would get so jealous of like my girlfriends. I was like, whatever the stereotype is supposed to be like reverse. I think girls are supposed to be jealous or something. And I was 2020, I'm going to get canceled. But like I was that, like the guy version of that in high school.
I know guys like that. Oh, I've known guys like that.
It was bad. I wish I could go back and be like, yo, chill out, bro. You're making me look bad. But
But those are things you just learn over time. Those are like the lessons you have to learn, and it's better to learn at that time than learn it, later on, right?
oh yeah, like I don't want to be married and be like, yeah, who'd you carpool
Yeah.
with? Like that's yeah. It's too
You had coffee with who? It's like,
yeah. It's like
yeah.
I'm just looking at you and I don't like the way he's doing it, like across the street or something.
But you brought up a good point about your watching your friend's show. You couldn't watch it, which is actually I would probably take that as a positive because the fact that you couldn't watch it and chose not to watch it until you were in a state to where you could enjoy it. Had you watched it in a negative state, it would have
Probably.
stained everything you were watching.
Yeah.
So waiting till you were in a place where you could accept it made you open to the possibility that, okay, I can perceive whether this is a good show or whether it's crap. So I think
Mhm.
that's kind of an interesting point right there.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, it is like a boundary thing. You got to kind of know what you're ready for, or kind of know yourself. Because I think you're right. There is a stage where you can put yourself, and you're not ready to do that stuff. And then there's times where you can be in a good space to like support people. So,
Right.
Yeah. Do you want to plug that show or?
oh, it's so good. I mean, I don't want to say it now because I don't want them to know. Like, dude, you didn't watch it for that long. So no,
And
it's a
sure
great
he has-
show.
I don't know how many friends you have that are pitching shows and are popular, but presuming it's a lot because if it could be multiple people, huh?
I'm like, I'm like, yeah, it's such a great show. Like, I wish I didn't say all those things because, like, I would love to plug it, but it's
We could stop the recording for just for a second, and you can
back
say the
edit that
name.
stuff.
All right, Mary, stop the recording.
Well,
And-
you know
yeah,
what?
go
I'll say this. Okay, so I'll clear up some stuff about it. Is like what it was is I had done a festival and a few shows with this guy, and I just thought he was great, and I think it was my own insecurities of thinking like
Right.
I was in New Faces, for Just for Laughs,
Mhm.
and a lot of my friends like who I did that with, like we were all going at the same pace, and my own insecurity was like, if I don't get these same things that they're getting, like I'm
Right.
the one that failed in
Yeah.
this momentum. Like it's some kind of race, which is
Right.
like definitely an illness in the way that we think about like our craft, and
Yeah.
that's kind of but all at the same time kind of a normal thing to go through.
Totally, yeah.
So I think like it totally has nothing to do with them. It's like all me. And then as I just said this right now, I'm like, actually, that didn't clear up anything.
I think you just made it muddier, but I was going to let you go with it. You're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great show. Everyone just watch every show and just try to think of that was my friend.
It's going to become like this internet mystery of who is JR's friend.
Yeah.
Oh, Game of Thrones. Yeah, that's the show. I got it.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Who's the creator of that? But I forget. But he was my friend.
That's funny. Well, we're just going to move right along past that. So if you couldn't do comedy or music, what would you be doing?
Man, if I can do comedy
Dentistry.
or music, no. I would probably like how quickly I said that.
Your
probably-
parents are breaking over here. I can hear it.
Like practicality wise, I probably would because that's the deepest connection that I have. It's just my own mom, but because my mom is a dentist too. My mom's the
Mhm.
dentist. My dad's the office manager. Both my brothers are dentists, and their wives are dentists.
Wow.
But I would probably like shit. That's a hard one. I feel like
So you get like
maybe-
massive discounts, huh?
I don't need dental insurance. It's pretty great. Like I just show up. Like they call me too, and I treat them worse than they treat me. Like, when they call me to come in, and I'm like, can you guys stop calling me? Like I'll come in when I come in. And now like to the point where I don't even know how to go to a dentist like a regular person. Like you're
Yeah.
supposed to like set it up, and yeah. I just show up like, are you guys free today? Like it's I'm like
Do
a
you have any
fuckboy with
downtime?
dentistry. Yeah. Are you up? You up right now?
Oh, Jesus. That is nice.
I would probably do. Man, that's so tough. I would like probably teach. I want to say like I used to teach kids music and theater, and also work with like kids with autism and stuff. And it was just like that's the one where I would just go home and feel really fulfilled when I went home. But
Okay,
I wasn't
that's
making
good.
a lot of money, but I was fulfilled.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Tell me your worst heckler experience.
Okay, this is a good quick one. Somebody was throwing ice cubes at me
Oh,
at
okay.
this show. Yeah. And it was I should have known because it was at a show that was like a bowling alley / salsa club / like casino. And it's
There's
just like
a lot of flashes in these places in California.
Right.
this was like I think it was in Oregon or something.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, they have like a lot of businesses that have an identity crisis. Like I don't know.
You tell me what I am.
Yeah. show up, tell me what you like to do, and we'll do that.
So they're just throwing ice cubes at you. Like, was it during a certain song or just the whole show? And did you
It
even
was
address it?
Yeah, I addressed it, and then I just got off stage because I was the feature. I was like the middle,
Mhm.
and that was the hard part. Was I think I was at like 20 minutes. I was supposed to do 25, and I just didn't know how to recover after that. And so what happened was they threw ice cubes at me, and no one was listening. But by the way, there's like no one there, so it's like me talking to one guy,
Yeah, okay.
and that guy's throwing ice cubes. So it's like I've lost the crowd. I was, and
It's cute to call it a crowd, though.
yeah, the crowd. I should call him the crowd. Maybe that's what offended him. He was like, "Just call me by my name. You've asked me my name." Like, man, this crowd is rough.
Yeah.
But I like was like, "Hey, is there like security?" And all the security or whoever, like the bartender was there. Nobody did anything, and so I just like, all right, well, I'm gonna get off. And I just got off. Like I did not know what to do.
It would have been fun if that guy, when you call for security, that guy would just stand up and like, it's me.
Yeah. Security.
What are you gonna do about it?
Yeah, what's up? It's like, damn. Okay, shit.
He's like, I was trying to throw myself out all night. We just need someone to prompt it, so we're good.
Yeah, yeah. He's like, I would like to leave. So
I would like to leave. Yeah, that's so. That means so the headliner only performed to that one guy, or did that guy stay? Or
I was doing these. Oh man, I was doing these runs called Tribble runs,
Mhm.
which are like notorious in the Pacific Northwest. Even the guy Tribble who runs them had like said in an advertisement like, "There's these kind of grind things for comics," and so it was like this room where could kind of walk in and out of in the casino. There's better ones that are set up like a show.
Okay.
But it's like let's say someone wants to take a break from gambling and doing whatever they're doing,
it's
and
like old Vegas, the old Vegas.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, they just go into the lounge like they need some entertainment for like 20 minutes, and
Right.
people would just do that and walk in and out. So I don't remember. I think for him, he had like more people. He had like 4 people maybe. So
Whoa.
yeah, that was man. That was when you romanticize like road life in the beginning of stand-up. That
Yeah.
was like the epitome of it. Like I slept in my car between gigs. When I
Wow.
would have a hotel on Thursday. Next show is on like Sunday or something, and so Friday, Saturday, I would like sleep in my car or find another comic.
Was there any point in that road life kind of grind that you're like, dentistry's sounding really good right now?
Never. That's the
Yeah.
crazy
That's
thing. Is like
awesome.
That's
I was
amazing.
loving it. I was loving it. I was young, dumb, all that stuff.
That's good. I'm just stuck on this dentistry thing. I don't know why. I'm
fun.
like, I feel like Hermie, the old Santa Claus thing where he just wants to be a dentist, but he's an elf.
Mhm.
I just got stuck on that. I watched that the other night, so it's been stuck in my
Yeah.
head.
What movie is that?
It was a Santa Claus. It's an old claymation Santa Claus.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
I just want to be a dentist.
That's so funny. Yeah. And I'm the reverse of that.
Yeah, you're like, I just want to be an elf. Just leave me alone.
Life is better. Yeah.
What about the worst gig you've ever done?
Probably that one. It's like any gig where they're not there for the show. It's because like as a comic, that sometimes there used to be a thing was like, oh, that's gonna make you better. At a certain point in your career, like that doesn't make you better. It's like you're getting used to trying to like, I don't know, like convince an audience to listen to you.
Right.
Yeah. But like, is there a point though where you started having some kind of traction, and then you just had a disappointing a gig where you're just like, what the hell? Like I was like, I'm going somewhere, and then you just kind of felt like you kind of one step forward, 2 steps back.
Yeah, I think it's just like I think that's just normal because you'll always kind of do a variety of unless you're past like you're just a household name kind of draw, which I I accept that I'm not there right now, and like. But for the most part, like I'll still do like corporate gigs or like birthday gigs, stuff like that aren't, I'll do them. It's great, but it's definitely not the reason why I'm doing this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And some of those can be hard just depending on like the setup. Let's say they didn't know how to set up a show. I've gone to shows before, like I've done some colleges where they didn't have a mic and I just did an hour just like shouting at people. And it does make you better in some ways. I do agree with that because it's like I had to really adjust and like learn how to work around like that. But I love a mic.
Yeah. I mean, you can't really beat a guy throwing ice cubes at you, to be honest.
Yeah, you're like that one was That was a better example.
All right. So you're Filipino American, right?
Mhm.
So have you ever felt the pressure to only talk about Filipino issues or being Filipino? Like, especially in your initial years of stand-up, like when I started, I just wanted to write regular stuff, right? Just going to Whole Foods, shopping there. But some part of me, especially maybe in Texas, was like, oh, I got to address the turban. I have to address the beard.
Mm.
Did you feel that pressure of addressing your race?
100% relatable because like the example you gave in the beginning when I just want to talk about random topics, like I
Yeah,
really liked Zach Galifianakis, Dimitri Martin, like
right,
one-liner with music type stuff.
right,
So I was like kind of trying that out and it ended up like kind of working for me, but I noticed when I would call out my appearance or being Asian or
yeah,
Filipino or something, that's when like it almost put the crowd at ease, like to
right,
get something out of the way, you
right,
know? They're like, "When is he gonna tell us what kinda Asian he is? Because this is
right.
really bothering me."
Yeah.
And, so it's
They're
like when
like,
you're
they're
talking
all
about
guessing.
yeah, exactly. It's a weird thing, like, to just I almost, like, had to get really, really acquainted with what is other people's perception of me early
Right,
on in the beginning, and that which was good because it's kind of a better understanding of that helped my writing, but because in the beginning, you just write about everything
true.
and when stuff doesn't work, you have to figure out why, and that was one of the reasons for
Right,
sure.
right.
But
Did you ever get those questions of like, why aren't you more like Joe Coy? Why don't you talk about how to make rice or I make the because that's what we get down here, like in Texas. It's like you're
uh-huh,
the Mexican comic, or you need to talk
yeah,
about Mexican things only. So it's just especially, and then they start comparing you to people.
Cool.
yeah, oh, for sure. Like, I mean, I still have a lot of the comparisons, but so when I was starting out, I was lucky that in Sacramento, what city are you guys in for the
San
scene?
Antonio.
San Antonio. I would say Sacramento is kind of similar to what I experienced when I was in Dallas. Like,
Okay.
it felt like they had a lot of different rooms, like, from the kind of more club room, like A
Hmm.
club room that, like, the big headliners come in to, like, maybe more B or C rooms that are a little bit more like it feels like you're on the road and more
Mm.
grindy, kind of weird.
Right,
And then we also had, like, the alt indie, almost like UCB,
Yeah.
like, they do improv there rooms,
right.
and then a ton of, like, bar and coffee shop shows. So I felt like this experience where there was a room I knew would wanna hear about the race stuff, like
Hmm.
and they would crush. And then there was
Right.
another room that's like, if I did that, they would be like it's like other comics that would call you a hack type of thing.
True. Yeah.
So we found it I liked that because there was kind of this balance where you kinda could, like, have a diversified set, and see if your stuff works in every room. But to answer that, yes. Long way around of, like,
Yeah.
people still, will bring up Joe Coy a lot now, and it's fine because I do love Joe Coy, and I love that style of comedy, and he does a lot of stuff for Filipino comics, but, uh but yeah, they'll still bring it up for sure.
Yeah. All right. What's your favorite city to perform in?
Ooh, hmm, I like Sacramento. I like it here. Yeah,
Okay.
that's why I'm back here. Yeah,
What,
but,
okay. What about outside of California?
okay. Um, I when I brought up Dallas, I did have a really good fun time in Dallas.
Okay.
Were you at Hyenas, or where were you at the Improv? Or
Where was that? Is Hyenas is a club, and for some reason I picture, like, the color purple. Is it in there? Not like the movie. Very, like, vibe of the color purple type of theme.
Right.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
funny.
like, and there was also a room, what's that one that what's her name? She's like, she runs, like, Backdoor Comedy something.
Yeah, it's called the backdoor comedy. Yeah.
Backdoor.
That
Yeah.
room was
Yeah.
fun too. That
Yeah.
was fun too. And I think you have to be clean, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was one of my most fun rooms to practice clean new stuff, and,
Right.
like, I felt like the crowd was down.
Nice.
Um, any of the Don't Tell comedy shows, their cities are all over the country. Their shows are in cities all over the country. But, I like a hip room that is, like, okay with you going edgy, where they're,
Okay.
like, super sensitive, and I feel like you guys have that in Texas, like
We have a
Yeah.
lot of places. Yeah, depending on where edgy you want to go. Houston's good for that. Austin's is starting to become that now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is it
It
about
was.
like, it's not, because when you feel it and it feels like too much, like, okay, this is a little bit, we're kind of setting our generation back, and then there's the other opposite end of that. It's like too much PC. Like, I kind of like the middle ground of like, hey,
Right.
you understand this is a joke, but like I'm not trying to like
Yeah.
purposefully offend people.
Yeah, I mean that's really one of the cool things I like about Texas is that because it's just so big that there's so much variety. I think
True.
San Antonio is very much a middle ground type of place. Sometimes Austin you get overly PC. Houston
Mhm.
can go wild. I mean, but it all just depends on who you're with and the crowd you're with because it varies, right? Like, but most of the time, people if they're out for, especially during a pandemic, if they're out, they
Mhm.
want to
Yeah.
see comedy. They want to see good comedy and not hack,
Yeah.
you know, and
So
they'll
what?
let you know.
Oh, totally. Yeah, that's cool. I love that, like, that description for the Texas kind of scene and stuff, and the cities and everything. Like, is there a big change happening right now with, like, Joe Rogan and all these comics are moving to Austin specifically, right? And then it's like, and then was there also that kind of change in that style of comedy even before that?
I would say it just had started, and I think that kind of added to it.
Mm.
Now, being the pandemic, there's not much going on in Austin, and one of the main clubs closed down, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
What was it?
but
Um,
Cap City,
Cap City,
Cap
yeah.
City, yeah.
Cap City, yeah. But yeah, with Joe Rogan and Chappelle showing there so often, I think it's going to change.
Like a pendulum. I think it's like a pendulum swing. Like a scene can
Right,
get one way, and then it was already starting to swing back. And then when Rogan moved, and now you have potential LA comics either visiting
Mhm,
or showing up more often, or moving to
mhm.
between here and Nashville. Like you're going to see those
right,
two areas really explode because
Yeah.
that's where people are moving.
And now that's what I wonder what that means for comedy because, I'm in Sacramento right now and I have like a short lease in case I need to move back to LA when things are kind of open again.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But we're in a time where people can do stand up in scenes outside of LA and New York.
Yep.
And I wonder if I wonder like how and what that looks like. Cause like, does that mean that Austin will be like, will also have production companies to film
that,
stuff out there?
That's
Or,
right. That's what I was wondering about. Yeah, probably. Yeah,
it's a
huh.
big booming market for artists, whether you're digital artists, media, I mean, filmmakers. Like it's already been a hip type of town.
Yeah,
So
the
you
Southwest and film and all that stuff.
exactly you add an influx of extra talent from LA, then you have capitalism do its thing, and then people just get better. So it
right.
makes
Nice.
the city
Yeah.
better. So I mean, I would anticipate. I think Timber and I were talking about this the other day. Between Nashville and Austin, I think those are going to be the two next places that you're going to start seeing artists just explode from. And
Yeah.
it's cheaper, way cheaper to live in Texas than it is in California.
See, that's and my buddy and I were just talking about Nashville and starting like a TikTok hype house, but as like 30-year-olds. Like, so we see all these like young, like way too pretty, like guys and girls, like with their TikTok houses and like just wake up like, yo, what's up? We made breakfast. And that's like a TikTok that gets 1 million views. And we're like, bro, we just gotta do that. These like as gross 30-year-olds. And but so
Well,
like
the Christmas ones are the worst. They're like, "Oh, this is our perfect tree," and I'm like, "Shut the fuck up! I hate this tree." You know,
yeah. I
Oh,
hate trees.
the
I
tree
hate
is
trees.
fine. I hate that person. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say
But
I hate a person. I just hate the tree. I'm gonna put all my energy towards the tree.
yeah, for that tree's fucked up. I'm with you. It's I'm with you. But yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
interesting. The Nashville, Texas thing really is fascinating to me because when I started, I've always wondered, can you do this without having to live in LA, New York,
Right.
and just kind of not being tied to it fully down.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting.
but it gives more options for touring too. So you see New York comics that are kind of like with the pandemic, they shut down, of course, obviously real quick in New York, but they are able to go down the seaboard almost, go down
Mm,
Nashville,
Mhm.
Florida, Texas. You kind of can hit all the
yeah,
whole South region, which I mean, that's a whole different view of what you're getting. So
yeah.
I'm going to be really interested to see once everything opens. I'm going to anticipate tours being more heavy in that area because
Sure.
that
Well,
crowd is wanting it.
totally, yeah, and it's like, and to have that level of comics now going
Exactly.
there, like, more constantly, like, that's just gonna step up the scenes in so many ways,
Well,
so
and it also highlights people in the scene. Like we've had tons of people in the scene in Austin
mhm.
and Texas that have been in the scene, but just haven't had that right pop. And
Yeah,
then
you
all of a
guys have
sudden,
a great scene, you guys bring up great comics out there, yeah.
it's just all that matter of luck, right?
Mhm.
Mhm. Cool.
Yeah, go ahead.
What superpower would you want?
You know what? Somebody okay, on Instagram, somebody DM'd me, they were like an animator, okay, well
Sorry, it was
and
me.
yeah, no, no, yeah, and now you're like and you never answered it. Um, no,
You left me on
but okay, so this is a preface to this, is they had, like, a lot of, like, very homoerotic art. And so I figured like they're gonna make the superpower thing that I did and kind of like turn it into like a sexual like thing with like my bulge is bigger, which I'm okay with. But like so I never responded because I'm like, I'm not sure what they're gonna create. But
That's when you
Hey,
drew the line between sketchy stuff. Okay. Okay.
you
yeah,
missed
that's
it.
where
That was Kevin Hart again. He was just DMing
it was
somebody
Kevin
from
Hart again.
camp.
Yeah, and later on he's like, okay, this is Kevin Hart. I'll reveal. Like that, he always starts out with a thing of like that's really generic. Who is this? Comcast.net. Yeah. So I don't. So at that time, I was trying to think of superpowers, and man, I mean, time travel, right? Isn't that the coolest one? I
That'd be
think
cool.
time travel.
Would you go back or forward? And
Shit.
when? Where?
All of it. Okay, so but
All of it.
if I only had one, like you're
Yeah,
only
yeah.
on one trip, shit. Man, the future's scary because like you don't know where you're gonna end up. Like, what if I go to a place where it's like, let's say white supremacy does win in the next coming years, right? World War III, and then white supremacy was like, whoa, like we have guns, and that helped. And so like, I'm stereotyping white supremacy, but
10
like,
seconds.
yeah, and then I'm just the one like colored dude. Actually, that would be good because then I would make it my mission to like mix all the mix my genetics into the pool again. And it's like Terminator where you're going back to save the world, but specifically about like sleeping with people.
Out of America, just start everybody. Child.
Dude, that's
See,
gotta be a movie or show. Like you're the race balancer, like of the time of space and time. It's like, we have a discrepancy in 2036.
so that's where that'll help. In order to convince people to sleep with you, you need to have that the erotic art with you. So reply to those people. Get
That's
your art.
so great. Yeah. So now coming back, I'm gonna contact this guy instead of him doing it for me for free. I'm gonna pay him. It's like I need you to make it. That's such a I would pay for that comic book series.
I'd be like, this is a future. You're gonna save our land.
Yeah. Anytime where it's like, hey, 2050 is too white, it's like I'm there.
That would be
know what I
like the
can do.
worst pickup line ever in a bar. He's like,
Yeah.
hey, I've been to the future. It's really white. Do you want to change that?
Yeah, we need to do this. Trust me, I'm a time traveler. I know it sounds made up, like I just made it up to have sex with you, but that's not what this is about. It's about humanity.
Let me know if it works. Let me know.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna try it on my Tinder
Podcast
profile.
has been all over the place, guys.
Yeah.
All right. This is going to take a huge turn from all of that. What was your last non-comedy job?
My last non-comedy job was I had 3 jobs. I had 2 music teaching jobs and I worked at my mom's dental office. So
Oh, you did. So you kind of did dabble into it a little bit.
I was the phone guy. I would pick up
It
phones.
counts.
And I was always every job that I've had, looking back, I was the most fireable employee. I'm not proud of it.
Your mom's like, aw.
Yeah. It's like, you're my literally the only reason I was there is because my mom was my boss, you know? And it's like, it's so embarrassing because looking back, like, I was probably a little asshole, you know? Like, I didn't realize, like, these people are trying to, like, gain my mom's respect, and I'm thinking of it like, "Mom, can I just, like, go home already?" You know? Like, I don't wanna be here. It's like so
Okay,
looking back,
so
I'm very grateful, but no, I was
yeah.
bad.
That's why. Did you ever do any kind of like weird voices when you answered the phone, or?
I would try to get laughs on the phone because I was already doing stand-up, and I was just like I would try to and my job was, recalls, so recalling people to come in for their appointments, and
I thought it was like dental recalls. I'm like,
Yeah, even I
oh,
thought dental recalls. Yeah.
dental recalls. Oh, yeah.
that
Hey, we
veneer's
just
got
do
to come
crown
back.
and it's pure poison, so
Yeah,
yeah.
that veneer's not working out for us. Can we bring it back now?
Yeah. Yeah, like, so I felt like my skill of getting people to get in would be to try to make them laugh, and usually if I got them to laugh and whatever, like, they would usually come in, but most people would be, like, upset. It feels like I'm spamming them to come into the office. So,
See, I always tell them I'm going to come in. I just don't show up.
man, they miss you, trust me. They like a full calendar, they wanna see you marry, like, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I hate
you have good
dentists.
teeth too, you have good teeth.
I had braces for years, and I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. Like I'm good. I
Yeah,
hate dentists. Yeah,
you're done, I get it.
I'm done. Yeah.
Do you
Like,
feel like you guys feel like you d like I'm interested because this is my whole family's industry, and if I wasn't in it, I don't know if I would go sometimes, right? So, like, do you feel like Like, how often do you guys go to the dentist?
Twice a year.
Okay, so,
Oh,
so that's what you're supposed to do, right?
you're good. No,
Yeah,
so
I
okay.
just,
I'm gonna be brutally honest here. I'm gonna open vulnerability here. So I had my braces on at 18. I got them off at 19, and I was like, good, I'm done. From
Never.
19 to 32,
Yeah.
because I'm an OCD person. So flossing, brushing,
Mhm.
not rocket science. Just do it. So at 32, I got insurance, and I was like, okay, I gotta go. My husband's like, dude, we're paying for insurance. You need to go. I show
Yeah.
up, and they're like, so I told them the whole story, and they're like, oh, okay, this is gonna be bad. And then they start looking, and they're like, it's not as bad as we thought. I'm like, oh.
That's a compliment. Yeah.
Okay,
Wow.
I was like, I didn't need you guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, if it's not as bad as you thought, then I don't need you.
Well,
No,
it
yeah,
just
like,
depends on the genetics too. Like I have horse teeth, so like my roots are to my jaw. Like nothing's
mhm.
coming out. You're good.
That's good. Because a lot of when I look at the philosophies of dentists, it's they want you to be able to keep your teeth, not have to get an
Yeah.
extraction as long as
right.
possible. That's like the goal. Each tooth is like a member of the family of your mouth. And I basically make things way more complicated than they need to be as
Well,
explaining things.
you made it sound better than the medieval tools that I see when I walk in
Yeah.
there.
You made dentistry sound like poetry right now. That's what you
Yeah.
did.
Well, like, cause my dad, he had a lot of his teeth taken out at 16. I remember because he would always try to scare us as kids by taking his teeth out, and we would go brush our teeth because like, oh fuck, like and but that was because they had like some lazy dentist who he had something that they didn't need to do extractions, and they extracted a bunch of teeth to just be like, all right, now you don't have to go to the dentist. Here's some fake teeth, and that's like the opposite of what a good dentist wants to. They want you to like keep your teeth for the rest of your life. So
Yeah, well, it's also return business, right? Like they'll keep coming.
that
And you
too, yeah.
take the
That's
teeth
where it's
out.
like that's where I don't like when I mean, I understand they have to run kind of like a mechanic, auto body shop. Okay, just come in. But if you don't know why, like for me, there's some things where I'm like, why do I need to go do this every year? It's just a waste of money. But
Yeah.
the dentist one, I think 2 times a year is good. I think that's good. Just basically just someone to check in and be like, make sure like it hasn't gone astray.
It's not even that. Yeah.
It's been like 4 years now since I sincerely, and I was like, oh, pandemic, oh darn, I can't
Yeah.
go.
Yeah,
No,
I
I
know.
still went during the pandemic. I
You
still
did?
went.
Yeah, a lot of people go, like, at the end of the year, like, everyone goes crazy, they go to the
Right.
dentist because 'cause they're
Yeah.
like, "Alright, let me make sure things are good," or you have, like,
The insurance running out.
emergency yeah, exactly that too. Insurance
Right.
running
Yeah.
out, big one, yeah.
That's the thing. I have insurance and it's entitled me 2 cleanings. I'm like, I'm gonna get it. I
Oh,
want the
heck
maximum out of it. Yeah.
when you have insurance, yeah, you're just like, "Let me do every appointment that I'm allowed to go to just to
Right.
hang out."
No, I'm
I'm
the
paying for this.
opposite.
You
No,
just don't wanna be seen by them?
I have perfect insurance. I refuse to go because what has changed? So the
Yeah,
medical world, we have robots doing surgery. You
yeah.
walk into a dentist office and there's still zzz, zzz, zzz. Like really, you couldn't make a quieter drill by now?
So
Like
that
seriously.
depends on the dentist because there's some dentists where it's, like, very non-invasive, like, they have the futuristic tools where it's like or it's just fake, they're just putting a light on your tooth and they're like, "You're good." I'm like, "Wow, so I could have done that at home with this flashlight," you know? But, like, there
What's
is more
happening with
non
that?
yeah, I feel like I'm, like, being like a dental industries promoter right now. But, like, because
You're such a
so
fanboy right now.
it's funny, like, I thought that I hated the dentist and the whole industry because my family was, like, pressuring me, but, like, looking back, like, I know a lot about that world. They would have us go to their conventions as kids all the time
Oh wow.
because they would have them in Hawaii or Las Vegas, so it's like, we'll go
Okay.
make a vacation out of it.
Yeah.
And every year, there's suppliers whose job it is to try to sell something new, and some of it was just a bunch of bullshit items. But now I can see why it's good is, like, I can go to the dentist, like, I'm a big pussy. So, like, as a kid, I wouldn't they were just putting sealant on my teeth, it helps you not get cavities, and it's like a gel,
Right.
but it looked like a needle, so I didn't do it, and I got the most cavities out of all my brothers. And now it's like they have technology that's, like, very it's not scary, it's not loud, it's not like that stuff. So it's like
I need to go there
it
because
depends on which dentist you have too. That definitely helps.
See,
I'm
I
like,
don't
no.
know why or what's weird with me, but all those noises, the drill noise and everything, that actually puts me to sleep. It's like a massage for me. It's like very calming. I don't know. I actually doze off on the chair. I do every
Dude,
time.
what was your childhood like?
Yeah,
I don't know.
we had two very different childhoods, Tanvir.
I grew up in India, man. I grew up
Yeah,
in
yeah.
India. So,
Hey, I go back to the Philippines all the time, not that they're the same, but I kinda get it.
yeah.
Yeah. It's just loud, it's bustling, there's, like in the Philippines, there's, like, 8 people on one motorcycle.
Exactly.
And
That's what it is. Yeah, yeah. That's
yeah.
why I feel like home. I want to just sleep. It's comforting. Yeah, I get it.
You feel
Yeah,
like you
yeah.
shouldn't be that busy in the middle of a dentist room. Like you're in a room. Like there shouldn't be people bustling right by you with sharp tools. You know?
Yeah. You
That's
like it.
exactly how I grew up in Mumbai. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I got one last for you. In 2017, you won the comedy talent contest, right? At Stand Up
Mhm.
NBC.
Yes.
How did you feel? What was the feeling like when you won that?
Man, I remember leading up to it, I was dating this girl, and the like, I kept saying all these things at the time. I was like, "Dude, if I get this thing, Imma buy a house. I'm gonna get married. I'm gonna be a better man," you know?
Right.
And, I didn't do any of those things, but
Should
I
have moved
felt
to the island.
What's that? Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I just got an island, and I had a chef and my girl and my guitar. But, I felt really good. It felt like it was very this is a career, especially in the start, there's a lot of self-doubt, and you don't know if people, like, believe in what you're doing. It was very, like, validating to be like, "Okay, like, like, this is a big accomplishment for me to if NBC people think there's something that I have, like, that's
Right.
awesome."
Right.
And, so that it did that for me in a lot of ways.
You
Nice.
mentioned in an interview that when you got the call, you were in your car and you kind of had this whole montage thing playing. Like I
Mhm.
kind of feel like that's like the most epitome like of every like Rocky movie. Like that's the just imagine
Yeah.
see your parents' faces and
Mhm.
everybody that said you couldn't do it. Like, I mean, was that like a really surreal for you to have that whole moment just like run at you?
Yeah, because I was working so hard at that time. Like, I was taking it like a 9 to 5,
Mm,
where I would, like, get up in the morning and do, like, all my emails in the morning to try to get booked, and then try to, like, research stuff of, like, what do I even need to know, like, how to get an agent and stuff like that.
mhm.
Um, and so when this happened, it was like a big payoff. It was nice to have it all at once, just like, "Oh, this is great." And yeah, I was driving to a show, it was just like a show in the middle of, like, Humboldt or, like, Wairika or something, and just a random, it was a really cool show, it was fun, but yeah, I just, like, stopped off on the side of the road and just, like, had a moment to just,
Nice.
like like, if I was to cry, it'd be right now. Like, let me have this moment.
Nice.
If I was to cry, okay, don't be a
If
liar.
I did cry, it happened then.
Yeah,
I'm
don't
not
be
gonna
a
cry if I
liar.
didn't.
Don't be a liar. You cried. Cried like a baby. So our last question that we ask every guest is: when someone Googles you, what do you want your autocomplete to be?
Oh, it's like JR and then this?
J.R. de Guzman.
Wow.
The next thing.
Man, and it's like a therapy thing. I'm like, "JR is a good person." Like, has nothing to do with my career. They're
It
like,
doesn't
"Someone
have
wants to
to.
know." Yeah, like, "Is
I mean,
JR a good person?" And then Google validates it for me.
I mean
Yeah.
that's the thing too. I mean, like at the end of the day, I've been talking about, kind of what we leave on for people to know you by, and is it your career or is it that you generally were a good person?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally. And this, I mean, right, 2020 has a lot of reflections in it, and there's a lot of bad that we always see, but there is some good, and I think that reflection of like, okay, it's not just my career that fulfills me. It's not just how much money. It's like, do I respect the choices that I've made in my life and the relationships that I've nurtured? I think that's like a big thing. I'm always like, that gives me my sense of value, or when I'm happiest.
Well, it definitely seems like this next wave of comedians coming up are definitely more mindful of their mental health in that state of kind of not putting every bit of identity into make it or break it. And so
So,
I
Mhm.
think that that's a big change also for the industry. We're already depressed. That's why we're
Yeah.
doing this.
Every comics, like, we used to joke about therapy, like, "Go to therapy, get more material, it'll be better, deeper, and more like, it'd be great. Go to therapy, it's good."
Yeah. Well, before we go, talk about your new single.
Yeah, so I just put out, it was originally called The Christmas Song, I did it live, but it's on all platforms. Check it out on Spotify. It's, The Legendary Christmas Song, and it's basically I did a studio version of a song that, like, every Christmas people would keep sharing the same live clip, and,
Nice.
I made it a little bit sexier. There's bass, there's harmonies,
Did you
and,
record it in a studio or was this during pandemic time?
in a home, like a home studio. Like, I've made a little home studio during the pandemic. I learned how to use, like, Logic. My brother used to be a sound engineer at Sony, and that he helped me a ton with it.
The brother is a dentist?
He's a dentist now, yeah.
He used to be a sound.
I know. So all my family did music, and but eventually, like, he was doing sound for like movies at Sony. I don't know if you remember that movie Cabin in the Woods. It was like a scary movie that had a really surprisingly unique plot. You thought it was going to be all the like,
Yes.
and he did sound on that, and
Pretty cool.
but I think he's really happy with where he's at in dentistry. So it's not like I thought he was a sellout in the beginning. I was like, come on, man, you were my idol. But
or maybe dentistry's like the mob. It's just sucking him back in, trying to get out.
True. He's still a really dope musician and producer. It's crazy.
Well, that's awesome to be able to do, especially now he can do it. I mean, you have the money from being a dentist to actually get to do more fun stuff with newer toys.
Yeah. No, exactly. I mean, he's gonna be rich and successful, so I think he'll be fine.
He'll be fine. Well, yes, everybody should definitely check out the legendary Christmas song. It's on Spotify. And JR, thank you so much for doing the podcast. This has been a long time coming. I've been super, super thrilled to have you on the show. And, Tanvir and I were super happy that you yes.
Yeah, I mean, thank you guys. This was such a fun podcast. Like, I hope big things for you guys. It's great.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Yeah.
All right, everybody. That's our show.
Well, that is a lot of fun. And all the single ladies out there, we know a guy. So if you're interested to be stuck on a deserted island with him, he's gonna have a chef. So.
Or you could be the chef.
I don't know. He wasn't so keen about that.
I'm going to make that decision for him. Well, that was a fun show. I'm super excited to go download his song on Spotify and definitely make that my ringtone because it is hilarious.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same.
All right, everybody. As usual, please like and subscribe. And if you really, really enjoyed it, please send it to your friends, family, and enemies. Until next time, I'm Mary Picarazzi.
And Tanvir Arora.